Hello, welcome to Screen Talk with yours truly, Nomfanelo. So I previously did video where I talked about Steven Soderbergh's comments on AI from, I believe it was Filmmaker magazine. That's where he announced his plans to use AI for the upcoming but a documentary on John Lennon, and then also too on a Spanish American War movie he's working on with Wagner Moura. So if you want to see my thoughts on that, it's already available on the channel to view. So not long after he made those comments, to no surprise, people were upset by that and there was backlash. So while he's promoting his latest film, The Christophers, he decided to respond to the backlash. And before I get into that, I do want to mention an update. So, with the John Lennon documentary that he's working on, it's premiering at Cannes as part of the special screenings presentation. And it's called John Lennon, The Last Interview. So, that's going to be premiering at the festival next month. So there's that. So let's get to his comments. So he did interview here with Variety, also too with the screenwriter of The Christophers, Ed Solomon. So I'll leave a link for this article if you want to take a look at it. So I want to get to his response once I find it here on the site. So the interviewer says, Stephen, congratulations on getting into Cannes with your documentary, John Lennon, The Last Interview. Your recent comments about using AI on the film have been heavily criticized. What do you make of that debate? And then Soderbergh says, he pauses and says, this is mystifying to me. Interesting. And then they say, are you aware of the blowback? Soderbergh says, no, I'm aware. I found out from people looking at me like they'd seen my chest x-ray. I was like, what's up? And they're like, these AI comments. And they read me back what I said. And I honestly felt, where's the smoke here? Interesting. So it seems like so far, I guess what he previously said in regards to AI, he finds there's nothing wrong with it. But let's just continue on. So they used AI on that film and said you're going to use it on an upcoming film about the Spanish American War. Clearly, you see it as a useful tool. And then he says, I'm not just threatened by it, I'm only scared of things I don't understand. So I feel obliged to engage with it, to figure out what it is and what it can do. It turned out to be a very good tool for certain passages of the Lennon documentary where I needed surrealistic imagery that was impossible to shoot. It allowed me to solve a creative problem about how to visualize what John and Yoko are speaking about philosophically. 10 years ago, I would have needed to engage a visual effects house at an unbelievable cost to come up with this stuff. No longer. My job is to deliver a good movie, period. And this tool showed up at the moment when I needed it. I don't think it's a solution to everything, and I don't think it's the death of everything. We're in the very early stages. 5 years from now, we all may be going, that was a fun phase. We may end up not using it as much as we thought we were going to. There are some people that I have absolute love and respect for that refuse to engage with it. That's their privilege, but I'm not built that way. You show me a new tool, I want to get my hands on it and see what's going on. Yeah, so I've seen with the responses, many people point out that apparently he's one of the filmmakers that's known to try out the latest innovation or tool. Like, for instance, when digital cameras came about, he was one of the first to use it. I remember, like, he used iPhones for filmmaking with what's the movie Unsane and High Flying Bird. I'm sure there were others I can't remember at the top of my head. But apparently he's known to use whatever tool is out there that comes about. And seeing this, it seems like in his mind with AI is no exception. He mentioned that he's like not scared of things, that he understands whatever. And so if I'm to base off his comment here when he says, I'm only scared of things I don't understand, it seems like he's not scared of AI and seems to understand it. And it's safe to assume that he is aware of the negative aspects of AI. And if that is the case, then yeah, this is not a good look. Now, at the end of the day, he's welcome to use AI if he wants to, but at the same time, he needs to be aware of the risk and the perception of AI in terms of how it's being received by the public. So it seems like he doesn't seem like it's a big deal. But at least here, like in his interview, the writer of the Christophers, Ed Solomon, he says in regards to AI that he's not interested in using it as a writing tool because it takes away from what he loves to do, which is a process. It makes it result oriented. I'm not scared of it. I just don't see myself using it in any kind of significant creative way. So at least Ed Solomon gets it. While with Soderbergh, that does not seem to be the case. And I did also stumble upon another interview that Soderbergh did. This is for Slate magazine. So I'll leave a link to this article if you want to take a look at it in full. But yeah, so they mentions here yeah, like the whole his controversy with what he said in regards to AI, mentions the documentary and all that stuff. Um, so he says here, it turned out to be the thing that I needed to solve a very serious problem. I have a 91-minute piece of audio. I am, for 90% of it, able to use archival imagery to support that audio. But for some very crucial sections that are John and Yoko speaking philosophically about some serious issues, I needed imagery that wasn't real and yet was very specifically designed to sort of enhance what they're saying. So similar to what he said with the Variety article I just showed you. And then he says, yeah, it's a documentary. We don't have a lot of money here. And some years ago, I would have been stuck because the only way to get what I ended up getting would be to go through expensive and labor intensive visual effects process that I couldn't have afforded. It would have been impossible, but I wouldn't have had the schedule. And then it says, my attitude is everybody has very emotional responses to this whole issue. I don't find it in the creative context to be this existential threat that it is in the real world, and in that every time you use it, you're draining a lake to cool off the server farm. Those are very serious issues. In the creative context, it is simply to me a tool and will eventually find its place. And then he's asked about recently with WGA, they made a deal with AMPTP because the contract was up this year. And I believe that agreement was signed for 4 years instead of 3 years. And I believe with SAG, so Screen Actors Guild, I believe they're in the midst of negotiations with AMPTP, so we'll see how that goes within the coming weeks. So he's asked about, yeah, the WJ agreement. It says protects writers from having credit taken away from them for AI generated products, but also establishes their right to use AI as a tool. It's not the blanket anti AI stance some might expect. And then he says, I mean, look, to me, its limitations are obvious and insurmountable. And at the end of the day, you've got to ask yourself, what would you. No, sorry. You have to ask yourself, would you take travel advice from somebody who has never left their home? It's ultimately reductive and based on things that have already happened, and it always will be. Its ability to iterate quickly is helpful in very specific contexts, but it can't finish anything. There's no universe in which I would hand something over that I hadn't really touched a lot. It's very obvious in a way, and my whole thing is trying to avoid the obvious. It's hard to me, again, just in the creative context, to get too activated about it, given some of the other issues that the industry is facing. The most important issue facing the industry right now is the issue of getting people to leave the house and go to the movies. How do we get people back in the habit of going to the movies, and even more so to see all kinds of movies? The fantasy, spectacle, super event type things are one thing. It's great when Sinners and Weapons blows up. The trick is, can we get people in numbers to go see anything else? So there is that. Yeah, like as I said before with my previous video with Soderbergh's comments, just kind of disappointing to see him go this route in regards to AI, because I do think that with what he wanted to achieve essentially, I think that could have been done in other ways that's not involving in AI, but clearly he doesn't see that. But I do wonder though, because with the John Lennon documentary, it's premiering at Cannes, and I am curious because I assume it doesn't have a distributor at this point. So I wonder though if any distributor is going to pick this movie up, especially given his recent comments on AI. I imagine if a distributor picks it up, it might be like a smaller distributor. I don't see any of the major studios touching this movie, not because of the subject matter, but maybe because of the whole AI of it all. Because clearly, we've seen for a while now that anything related to AI that comes up, there's always immediate backlash to it. So I think that's what's going to happen with the John Lennon documentary. I think if a distributor picks up, it might be something smaller, or it could be a distributor that just will not care about the blowback, um, and will decide to distribute it. And I'm curious, so like if the people will show up to see this movie, whether it's in theaters or if it's like straight to VOD or streaming. I mean, that remains to be seen. But I wonder though for the Spanish American War movie that he plans to make. Is that going to get made? I mean, that is the question. Um, I'll be surprised if it does end up getting made. Not because of the subject matter or the people attached to it. I think, given with, as Soderbergh puts it, he wants to use a lot of AI for that movie. And I'm like, good luck trying to sign people that, that are going to do this movie. I have a feeling that movie is going to fall apart, and I am curious that with the people involved, so far, I think Wagner Moore is attached to star in this. I don't know if it's as the lead or like a supporting role. I'm assuming it's a lead role. I am curious if that's going to still stand. Now, it's possible that the movie could fall apart for other reasons outside of the AI stuff, but I won't be surprised if it does fall apart because of the AI stuff. And not a lot of people want to be associated with projects that involve with AI because of the blowbacks, because we've seen this in many different cases now. So that's essentially what I have to share in regards to Steven Soderbergh's response with the backlash in regards to his AI comments. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section. What do you think is going to happen with the the documentary he plans to premiere at Cannes with the John Lennon one, and also too with the Spanish American War movie he plans to do with Wagner Moore. Is that going to still stand, or is that going to fall apart? Let me know in the comments section. So if you want to support me, you can visit buymeacoffee.com/Nomfanelo, where you could donate and you can view exclusive posts there. I do have community tab here on my YouTube channel, so feel free to leave comments there. You do have to subscribe to the channel, but feel free to leave posts there as long as it's under community guidelines, of course. And if you want to follow me on social media, my links are in the description. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to catch you on the next one.